Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video we are going to look at the Emdom USA TNT gym bag. This here being a collaboration between Military Morons and Emdom USA. Now if there's anything I can say about Emdom USA products, I absolutely love them. I do use them at length, and in this case the TNT gym bag. Pretty much a rifle bag, but Greyman style. This is supposed to blend in a little bit, not be too loud, too flashy, too tactical, a little bit more Greyman. Now, what we're gonna do today, I have this fully outfitted with all of my gear. It's been to the range a couple of times. It's been just a great addition for me. I'm gonna go through this in detail, show you the content I have inside, so that maybe you can see what gear you have and how this Emdom gym bag might tailor to you. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Emdom USA who did provide this for review. So again, the Emdom TNT gym bag. I'll go back to my initial statement, which is this is really intended to look a little more Greyman. You don't see any sort of PALS webbing or Molly webbing. You don't see morale fields. Very sort of streamlined. With the caveat being this one here is in Coyote Tan. You can get this in a number of different colors. You can actually get this in a couple of different sizes. So this is the standard gym bag. They also have the Gym E bag, which is a larger version of this. So this is the smaller of the two, and again in Coyote. Now, when you get into some of their different colorways, they actually change some of the features. It's very subtle, but they do. For example, where this is in Coyote, well, you end up with some sort of zipper pulls that are more like paracord. That looks a little more tactical. When you get into some of the more urban gray colors, well, you just get into sort of jingly and jangly zippers. And that's fine. It's all with the idea being this is meant to blend in just a little bit more in your sort of Greyman or urban scenario. And so as we get into the details, the first thing is the overall size. Again, keep in mind, as I mentioned, this is the smaller of the two. So this here, the gym bag, being approximately 26 inches long, this is about 10 inches tall, and about 8 inches deep. So as I spin this way, you can see this is pretty much how it looks like on each one of the sides. So this is sort of the back side here, a little bit more plain. Spinning this around to the front here, you can see just a simple zippered compartment on each one of the ends, zippered compartments, and then your main compartment across the top. As we look at the hardware, Emdom always doing a fantastic job with the hardware, good quality Duraflex buckles, wonderful webbing, always nicely stitched. But the main thing with Emdom, Cordura ballistic nylon. Very, very nicely done. They're always using premium materials. Now, I can't say for sure, but I don't think this is 1000D. It seems maybe just a little bit lighter than that. And the only reason why I say that, it's not incredibly stiff. It's actually just perfect. It has the right amount of sort of flex and give, and it just feels really good. Now the sides here, you can see these are pretty well self-supported. So these are padded sides, so everything nicely padded. You can see here the bag does take shape naturally, and that's also the case across the bottom. Now again, you can see all the webbing, very nicely done, very nicely stitched, and in strategic locations, box stitched for the strength you need for your carry straps. Now this is an interesting setup where this kind of does serve dual purpose. You do have the ability to use this like a standard duffel, or you can split the straps and use these kind of like backpack straps. The idea being, if you really wanted to, you could throw this over both shoulders, and it kind of helps you carry this just a little bit. Now, as we get into this here, again, the nice hardware, undoing the buckle, and I take it back. This is technically an ITW buckle, so not specifically Duraflex, but ITW. Again, always very nice hardware. And then as we get into the main compartment. Now, please excuse my cute pink lock here, but unfortunately my black one is just being consumed with another project at the moment, and I needed to have a lock on this at this time. So anyway, just showing you that the fact of the matter is, the awesome thing about this bag, you can lock it up. So getting on these nice large YKK zippers, feeding the lock through, no problem. You can lock this up. And that is key, in my opinion, for a bag that's intended to have firearms in it. Now, speaking to that, this is really sized specifically to be able to split your AR upper and lower and get that outfit into this bag. Personally, I do not have an AR, so you'll see what I have opted to do. I have opted to use this for my takedown version of my Ruger 1022. So as we get into this here, and across the front, you can see I have this well loaded out with a whole bunch of gear. Now, this is more than I need for myself personally. I do have a little bit of redundancy in here, and I have some things that are going to be for either basic safety or basic maintenance. So working very well for general use. This can be obviously set up in a ton of different ways, but right now this is how I've had it set up for the past couple of weeks. As I mentioned here, just a little bit of redundancy. I do oftentimes go with multiple people to the range. So in here I do have a couple of different sets of headsets. So the headphones here working very well. These are a couple of different versions. I've covered these in the past, and you can see these fit in here nicely. Now it does require me to kind of stack things just a little bit. It's not perfectly laid out, and I do sort of need to stack, but it does show you that on top here I do have plenty of room, where there's enough room that if you had to, you could get some additional items in here. You could probably even put a light jacket or a winter hat or something if it was adverse conditions and you really needed it. But again, as I remove these, you can see moving forward, I do have a basic med kit. That to me is always something worth having, and this is fairly substantial in terms of the size. So fairly large overall basic kit, but at the same time a good amount of stuff, couple tourniquets, and then just some simple tools. So doubling not only as my med kit, but I do have some tools in here as well. Now you can see here I do have a bipod. Well, that's because, as I mentioned, the main thing in here being my Ruger 1022 Takedown Edition. And as I kind of buy myself just a little bit of space, you can see here, well, there it is. So the back half, the receiver, and the main stock portion here. And then the nice thing is, as I get this out of the way, so fitting very well, you can see this for size. It also comes with this padded sleeve. Now this padded sleeve is sort of a compartment that is capable of being zippered. So as you see here, you can zipper that up. Either way, I really didn't need to zipper it, so I didn't. Just kind of left it open. You'll see, very simple, nicely padded, nice and thick. About, I'd say, just shy of a ½ inch thick on the padding. So good and stout padding. But inside, my barrel. So here again, the front fore end and barrel for my Ruger 1022. And just getting this together for the size comparison, you can see this is definitely longer overall than the bag itself. So it's not like I could put this in here complete. I do need to take it down. So this has worked very well for this particular purpose. Now as I move forward, you can see this is a pistol case, but I've opted to use this to kind of help and protect some optics. So very simple here, you can see I do have a scope. So I have my scope in here, nicely protected inside this padding, and then double duty inside the bag where it's going to be nice and safe. But a fairly large scope overall, and fitting in here just fine. Now just sliding this out of the way, you can see I did opt to use the box from my headset just to kind of segregate the space. That is one thing as I kind of get a little bit further into this to describe to you. At the bottom, you can see this has a nice large Velcro area. For me personally, I would love to see some additional Velcro on the inside, and even if it wasn't the entire inside, maybe just a couple of strips. And the reason why I say that, Velcro accessories, I mean, they're very common. You can get tons and tons of Velcro accessories. So the ability to really subdivide the bag with either sort of shelves or subdivided compartments, or even on the inside putting pouches or pockets, I think Velcro on the inside of this would be very advantageous. But regardless, here you can see I do have some basic binoculars. So actually these are decent size. They're not incredibly small. They're also not huge, but at the same time, just doing a good job for me. So having these in here, in the case, again, sort of double padded, which is nice. This is working out just perfect and fitting in here with ease. Here I have a sling. So this is a 2-point sling that does fit on a number of my different firearms, but using it here for the 1022. And I usually bring 300 or 400 rounds of my rimfire ammo. So you can see here just some left from the last session. There's about 35 rounds. And then here I had another sort of 200. So I had about 300 rounds with me. Didn't quite make it through them all, but they fit in here nicely. And that takes care of pretty much the main compartment here. But again, this padded sleeve can be moved around anywhere you want. And I chose just to kind of stuff it all the way to one side and buy myself the most space I could on this portion of the bag for the rest of my kit. Now, you can get more than one of these. So if you wanted to carry multiple firearms in here, you could certainly do so. And you'd have the ability to put a couple of these subdivided compartments in here and keep everything nice and separate so it doesn't bang together. Sliding down to each one of the ends, you can see nice zippers over the top. And then here, this is kind of some PPE. So here I have my glasses, so my clears, some range gloves in case I need them, a couple different sets of earplugs, which I do typically double up when I wear the earmuffs. I do like to have both of them. I feel as though really cutting down on the sound is advantageous for the longevity of my hearing. And that pretty much takes care of this side. Sliding over to this end. Again, the zipper pulls over the top. Very nice zippers, extremely smooth. And just some accessories. Here's just a little eye cup. These actually go to those binoculars and allow me to put my cell phone. So if I was shooting some footage or I wanted to get some documentation of my shooting capability and whatnot, I could certainly use this on the binoculars for length. But more importantly, my magazines. So the 1022 using 10 round magazines, I have these in there, and a small bore laser. So at this time, that pretty much covers the bulk of the content in this bag, with the one exception being, again, just this one last pocket across the front. So here you can see I just keep a basic notebook in here. I do like to track my shots, so having that in here is perfect. And other than that, it is fairly thin. You can see I just have the tags that this came with. So again, Cordura fabric and your Emdom USA logo. Again, everything very nicely made, extremely well stitched. As you look through all the details, very nicely done. Emdom USA is always doing a fantastic job with their manufacturing. Again, all the hardware, very, very nice. When you look at their zippers, extremely high quality, beautifully done, very smooth. Again, the zipper track, just perfect. The hardware, very nice. And all the way through the D-rings for the shoulder strap. That is one other thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning. Just a real nice 2-inch wide shoulder strap. Beautifully padded, extremely nice. And their colors are awesome. You can get a ton of different options. In this case, I happen to have the Coyote Tan. In other cases, you can get multicam black. You can get all sorts of different basic foliage, black, grays, just awesome colors. So again, Emdom doing a wonderful job with their bags, and that's coming close to a conclusion. And so there you have it, a look at the Emdom USA TNT gym bag. Keep in mind, this is the smaller of the two. If you want a little bit more space, you can get the Gym E bag, which is the extended version. Now, a couple last things just to point out. There are a couple features on here that are sort of interesting. Personally, for me, I didn't really need it. And if you look at the end of the bag here on these pockets, say you did need just a little bit more space on the inside, you can kind of flop these pockets open and you can push this out. So as you look here, these do push out, and that buys you room on the inside of the bag. You can see sort of unvelcroing this and just pushing it out. On the inside, there's just a little Velcro tab. It's very straightforward. And that side pocket is really what my sort of inner protected pouch is tied to. Now that I'm pushing it out, you can see it bulges out, and it's going to be a little bit of competition of space. So at this point where this is bulging out, I can't really use this to hold any more stuff on the outside of the bag. So that's just a consideration, and that is the case for both sides on each end. So just a neat little feature if you need it. For me personally, I really didn't need the extra space where I'm putting my Ruger 10/22. It fits in here more than easily. I don't have the space constraints of maybe a slightly larger firearm, so getting it in here was no problem. And in terms of carrying all the rest of the gear that I need to go to the range, it's literally perfect. I really don't need too much more, with the exception of my targets. And even at that, I was able to fit my targets in here, no problem. And just one little last bonus, you can see here on top, again, it's got this nice strap with the buckle. For me, where I'm always filming, I usually need some sort of like a tripod or a mount or something for my camera equipment. And so very simple, that does slide nicely in on the top, and you can literally just buckle that and cinch it right into place. You could put an umbrella, you could put, again, some sort of a monopod or bipod or something that you need to hold up an optic. You could slide a jacket. Very, very simple. So this bag, very nicely done. I think the only thing that I would truly change about it would be literally on the inside, a little bit of extra Velcro, which I think would go a long way. But again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Emdom USA for providing this for review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless channel, which is more my primary channel. On that channel, I cover everything from hiking, camping, and backpacking excursions, all the gear that goes with it. So from your sleep systems, shelter systems, knives, axes, backpacks, flashlights, you name it, that's my Outer Limitless YouTube channel. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.